Welcome to Ag Update. Whether it's dates, deadlines, or developments, Ag Update is your source for the latest news in the ag industry. And now, here is Ag Update.
And good morning, folks. It is a nice blustery day in West Texas. We are speaking to you from the downtown studios of Town Talk Radio and Adventure Marketing here in Brownfield, Texas this morning. I know that there's a lot going on in the country, and we're going to talk a little bit about ag news, of course, as always. But this morning we're going to start with some other things that have happened in the last week or so in the meta community and where I live and work and in Brownfield. And we're going to talk a little bit about our good friend Johnny Anderson that works for Plains Cotton Growers. But also today we're going to talk about a really unique event that happened a week ago Friday. Chairman Mike Conaway, along with Congressman Jody Arrington, met with a group of young farmers in Lubbock. Got to attend that meeting, got to see some of our local West Texas young farmers at that meeting. Mason Becker and Stetson Hogue were there and did a great job representing our community in Terry County. Talk a little bit about that. Then we're gonna have a couple of interviews. I got to visit with the chairman and got to visit with Congressman Arrington for a few minutes, and so we'll share those with you and talk a little bit about what was said and where we are at this point as far as getting ready for the 2018 Farm Bill. They touched on a little bit of everything. So, hey, with that, folks, stay tuned, and we will be back with Ag Update on Demand.
For over 60 years, Carter & Company Irrigation has been serving the farmers in West Texas. They offer full-service repair for any brand system, whether new or existing. Above or below ground, Carter & Company can fix any electrical or irrigation leak. Contact salesman Ronnie Raines at 806-637-2053 and ask about their new Zematic pivots. In addition to handling all of your irrigation needs, Carter & Company also carries Green Mountain and Louisiana grills. Stop by and see the newest innovation in outdoor grilling, located in Brownfield and Seminole. Carter & Company is your hometown choice for all your irrigation needs. When dealing with farm animals, often there is no time to waste when problems arise. Dr. Jim Reidenauer and his staff are available to meet any medical need with your cattle or horses. For in-house service or ranch calls, Dr. Jim is always available. He recognizes that your farm animals are more than just animals. He knows they also represent your livelihood. Call Terry County Veterinary Hospital at 585-6363 for all your animal needs. Large or small, Dr. Jim is the one to see for your animal's medical care.
Tejas Peanut Company reminds you that they are here for the peanut producer. Tejas Peanut Company, located on Farm Road 403, sells seeds for any variety of peanuts. We specialize in runners, Virginias, and Spanish, which are well suited to the peanut producer and our weather conditions. Call 637-0568 today for seed or peanut contract information. Tejas Peanut Company, handling the farmer's needs from planting through harvest.
Hey, folks, and we're back with Ag Update on Demand this morning. As I alluded to earlier, lots of things have happened in the last 10 to 12 days in our Meta community, and I want to touch on that just a little bit. I came to Meta in 2002 and got to work with, have always worked with a great group of guys as far as my board of directors and a great group of producers at Meta Farmers Co-op. But I've worked probably closer with Don Carroll than I had anybody else. Don was my board chairman. Don suffered a heart attack a week ago, last Wednesday, and unfortunately passed away last Sunday, a week ago Sunday, after being in the hospital for a few days. He leaves behind a tremendous family, his lovely wife Pam of 49 years, his son Cody, his wife Amy, their daughters Kaylee, Lex, and Carly, daughter Keely and her son Cole, and his youngest son Cass, and his daughter Chloe. Don was all about his family, very proud of him, and very rightfully so. He was also very proud of his farming. He did a tremendous job as a farmer and a producer in our community. Always took a lot of pride in his fields, as all of our producers do. But Don was always proud of what he was working with and what he did for a living. Very proud. He gave back to his community in service to not only our Gen board for 25 years, 22 as chairman, but he was also on the Meta School Board. He was also on the Appraisal District Board for Terry County. He participated in the Cemetery Association at Meadow. He was on their board. whatever it was, Don gave back. He was proud of his community, proud where he grew up, and proud of what he did, and proud of the friends that he had, and like I said, the community that he was part of. He will be greatly missed at our place. He was a regular in the morning for coffee, and then they would go out and take care of their farming business and do whatever he had to do. But Don was a tremendous asset to our community, not only in Meta but in all of Terry County. One of those guys who, like I said, loved where he came from, loved what he did, and it showed in everything that he did. Whether that was his time on our board or the school board or anything else he was a part of. I can only say that people like him don't come along every day. I'm blessed with several like him, though, in Meta, and I'm thankful for that. But we will miss him. We will miss his presence in our boardroom and the decisions that we make. He was all about what was good for the gin and our members. We'll miss him in the community as far as him being a part of the things that went on and always being willing to help. We grieve for his family. We ask you to continue praying for them. A lot of changes there, and we pray for Pam and the family as a whole. Anyway, just wanted to touch base about that. He was a special guy that we'll always think very fondly of, and that we will miss. Second of all, this morning we got news that Coach Monty Moore, who was a coach down at Wellman, passed away early this morning after a heart attack. Also, our heartfelt condolences go out to his wife LaDana and their family, and we ask your prayers for them right now as they move forward through the coming days. Please keep them in your thoughts and prayers. It was a tremendous shock, and you're never ready, but both of these gentlemen passed away at a very early age, and it's been a shock to both these families. But we ask you to keep praying for both families, not only the Carrolls but the Moores. And finally, a little bit of good news. Our good friend Johnny Anderson, that works for Plains Cotton Growers, was involved in a very serious car accident in Howard County last week. He was rear-ended by a cattle truck while waiting to turn into a gin. Johnny was air-flighted to Midland and then brought to Lubbock. He underwent surgery to stabilize his spinal cord, and they are right now hoping that he is going to recover, get well enough to travel. They're going to go to Denver, Colorado to Craig for rehab, which is a great place to be. It is a world-renowned facility. Very thankful for that good news. And the last report that I got from our good friend Mary Jane Berkeley was that Johnny was in very high spirits, and that he was in a lot of pain, but he was in good spirits. And so, again, our prayers and thoughts are with Johnny and his family as they prepare for the next step in getting him back to 100%. And our prayers for Janie and him is that that's a quick recovery and that we get him back home soon. But folks, again, don't take anything for granted. Everything can change in a heartbeat. I know this isn't your typical ag update, but some things that definitely needed to be said, and some fine men that we've talked about this morning. And again, I ask your prayers for all those families in the coming weeks. And with that, folks, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll come back with some ag news about our young farmer roundtable that went on in Lubbock. Some of our local gentlemen that represented the area very well that day, and we've got a couple of interviews, one with Chairman Conaway and the other with Congressman Jody Arrington. So with that, folks, we'll take one more commercial break, and we will be right back.
Did you know that Adventure Marketing is not only the best stop for your marketing needs, it also can supply your business or group with t-shirts, caps, and apparel. We work with dozens of manufacturers to find the right product to deliver your message. Choose from thousands of items in quantities from 1 to 1 million. Call Adventure Marketing today at 806-637-0030 and let us help you promote your business.
Cotton farmers. From planting to harvest, you nurture your crop. At Harvest, you want to use Meadow Farmers Co-op gin. Since its beginnings in 1935, Meadow Farmers Co-op has prided itself in fast, courteous service to our customers. We provide complete ginning service from the field to the marketing of your crop through PCCA and the SEAM marketing system. Call 806-539-2241 or come by Meadow Farmers Co-op to learn about our service and commitment to you. Meadow Farmers Co-op, celebrating 80 years of service to Terry County.
Diversity Irrigation is your full-service Rain Key dealer. Durability, ease of use, and state-of-the-art technology make Rain Key Pivot's energy, labor, and water efficient. At Rain Key, the philosophy is simple: to exceed our customers' expectations of quality, service, and innovation. Call the team of pros at Diversity Irrigation at 637-0593 to find out how a new Rain Key irrigation system can help score more points in your farming operation. Diversity Irrigation and Rain Key together, they're more right than rain.
Hey, folks, and we're back with Ag Update on Demand. A week ago Friday, Congressman Arrington arranged to have Chairman Conaway in the area, and they sat down with a group of young farmers up at Texas Tech, represented kind of the area. The two guys from our area that we all know, of course, Mason Becker and Stetson Hogue, members of the West Texas Young Farmers, represented our area very well during that roundtable discussion, and talking about some of the issues and concerns that our young farmers have, especially going forward as we get ready for the 2018 Farm Bill. Wanted to do a hats off to both Stetson and Mason for doing such a good job. Mason got the opportunity to speak during the roundtable a little bit more about the financial side of it, and did a tremendous job. Things that these guys need to hear, our representatives need to hear in Washington, about what's really going on in the country. And I appreciate Mason and Stetson taking the time out of their busy schedule to be there and to do what they did. They did an absolutely incredible job. Appreciate those guys. Great to sit in the room and get to hear these young men visit about some of the issues that they're dealing with. Of course, all of ag is having issues right now as far as getting ready to go again with some of the things that are going on. Cotton's a little bit better right now. We're thankful for that. And as we look forward, planting intentions appear to be very, very good. And so we'll look forward to that as we go into March, and we'll get that final planting intentions report from the National Cotton Council and the USDA. Pardon me, this morning, though, I had the opportunity to sit down for just a few minutes with Chairman Conaway, talk to him a little bit about the appointments that we've seen out of the Trump administration, as far as the appointment of Sonny Perdue as Secretary of Agriculture. Of course, he has not been confirmed yet. That is one thing that he'll allude to in the interview. And on the trade side, the USTR rep, Mr. Leitzner, that was also appointed, and I think he has gained confirmation. And so we got to visit with Chairman Conaway about those things and kind of going forward what we saw. And we actually got his take on the conversation that he had that afternoon with our young farmers. So with that, we're going to cut to that interview, and when we get back, we'll visit a little bit about that, and then we'll listen to Congressman Arrington. But here we go with Chairman Mike Conaway.
Dan Jackson with Town Talk Radio, and this afternoon we have the honor of being with Chairman Mike Conaway and Congressman Jody Arrington, and the roundtable that went on this afternoon. And Mr. Chairman, you touched on several things with our young producers, a lot of the concerns that they had, but one thing that you did touch on was the fact that we were awaiting confirmation of Secretary Perdue, and I know that one of the big questions in the room is how that's going to go down. We've touched on oilseed and the hope that at some point maybe we will get that done. And what's your feeling about Mr. Perdue?
Well, I've had a chance to talk to him a couple of times, and I'm impressed. I think he's going to do a terrific job as Secretary of Ag. He brings really terrific credentials. Veterinarian by profession for a while in his career, small animal vet, but nevertheless a vet. Went back to Georgia and got in the grain merchant business. He owns silos. He and his brother-in-law built one, and then they've acquired several. So he's been in the agricultural business on the kind of the middle tier of that process. And so he's also been the governor for 8 years of a state where agriculture is a big deal. So he's been an executive, had an executive role in dealing with and helping farmers and ranchers cope with whatever's going on. So those are experiences that I think he'll bring to bear on the job. Pat Roberts will be responsible for getting his confirmation hearing done in ag. I understand that he's gotten his because Sonny has extensive financial holdings. He had to get those all disclosed or that paperwork in. Had to have an FBI check. He was one of the later ones appointed or named by President Trump, so consequently he's a little behind the queue. I'm hopeful that mid-March, late March, he runs through the process and gets confirmed. I don't think he'll be particularly controversial. It's just a matter of timing and getting all that done. But I'm looking forward to working with Sonny based on my conversations with him. The other thing, I've got two guys off that Jody and I serve with, Doug Collins from Georgia and Austin Scott from Georgia, both of whom were in the state Senate when Sonny was governor. And they said we can work with the guy. He makes his mind up. He makes his mind up, and he can be hard-headed, but he'll listen. He's a thoughtful guy and pleasant. He's never mean or angry, but I think they both think he's somebody we can deal with as Secretary of Ag.
Well, and that's our hope, of course. Our dealings with Secretary Bill Sack on the oilseed designation, and our hope that at some point that'll come up again as time progresses and he gets confirmed. The other thing I wanted to touch base with you on today is I was very encouraged by the appointment of Mr. Leitzner as USTR, and late in last fall, late in the year, the rice thing with China was brought up, and we're seeing some moves toward that fair and level playing field we talked about in August, and maybe negotiating a little for the home team. What's your feeling with Mr. Leitzner as far as what we'll see going forward with the WTO and the things that affect cotton and agriculture?
Well, I think I don't know him personally, but I think what you'll see is the influence of Donald Trump on that whole process. And Trump's a deal guy. He understands deal making and getting a good deal. This is to be getting a good deal for production agriculture for America. And given his history, he understands enforcing deals. When he makes a deal with somebody, he expects them to live up to their side of it. If they don't, then he takes the requisite steps in front of whatever that happens. And I think we'll see that enforcement as well, because it doesn't do us any good to have good deals if they're not enforced. And Mr. Trump has a long, well before he thought about getting into politics, history of making deals and then requiring that those who deal with him in the way that they agreed to. And so I'm excited about having his influence on USTR going forward. That said, the folks at USTR did, for production agriculture, a really good job negotiating TPP, with the exception of rice and tobacco. But on balance, most of the producer groups looked at the TPP deal for agriculture, and they thought it was a good deal. So now that we're out of that, that kind of sets the standard or the floor for where the new negotiations should start. And the bilateral deals that we start making, I think, will build on that good deal and get even better under the bilateral deals that come forward, and that's what we're looking forward to. But I got great confidence that Trump will insist that our trading partners live up to their side of and then we live up to our side of the trade as well.
Well, and my favorite quote, we talked in August at Plains Ginners in Lubbock, and I asked you about negotiating for the home team, and your reply was not only negotiating for the home team, but holding the visiting team accountable. And that hits it kind of right on the head for us in agriculture. So I know you have a busy schedule, but I wanted to once again thank you for coming back to West Texas. I'm proud that Congressman Arrington is on the Ag Committee. I know that was a priority for him, and we appreciate what you do for us. And the young men that were in that room a while ago, I know appreciated your time and the opportunity to get to express some of the concerns they had.
I really sensed a real deep-seated sense of anxiousness, or anxiety may be too harsh a word, but a real sense that they're in hard times. They're all small business guys. They all have people working for them who are dependent on them, and they're carrying that heavy load of knowing whether or not the cash flow is going to be there to get payroll in this month or whatever's going on. And that's a heavy load. I understand that, and so we're going to, particularly that Jody's on the Ag Committee with me. He's also in the Budget Committee, so it gets us an ally over there, and a very important step for how we're going to, what kind of resources we'll have to, when it comes time to write the Farm Bill. The Budget Committee will help drive that train, and having Jody's clear voice of why we need it, what's needed, is going to be really important. And I'm tickled to death that the good folks of District 19 sent Jody Arrington to be one of my colleagues.
I think it's going to be great for our area and great for us as a group in agriculture to have both of you up there. And we, as always, appreciate your time and appreciate you coming to West Texas, sir.
Good to be with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
And that was Chairman Mike Conaway of the Middle and Odessa area talking about the Ag Roundtable that we had the other day. And of course, I thought his take on Mr. Perdue and Mr. Leitzner in both areas was very interesting. And, of course, moving forward, we'll be working closely with those gentlemen. again, Mr. Perdue, as far as we go, hopefully we'll be talking about the oilseed assistance program, cottonseed being designated as another oilseed, going forward at some point, and then also Mr. Leitzner as far as trade goes, because that gentleman has a great deal to say and do about the trade deals going forward in this new administration. And so hopefully we'll have a good relationship with both those gentlemen. Look forward to that. And as always, appreciate Chairman Conaway coming into our district and visiting with our producers and ag leadership. He is a true champion for agriculture and a good friend to all of us, but he's been a great champion of cotton, and we appreciate all of his efforts and the things that he's doing for us in Washington right now. Now, next, we've got an interview with Congressman Jody Arrington, kind of got his take on being the freshman and starting out, and, of course, very proud of his committee assignments. He has gotten on the Ag Committee, and I think Congressman Conaway alluded to, I believe, the Banking Committee, and so we've got some great things going on there. Proud of those appointments, but got his take kind of on what was going on as far as being a freshman and his take on the young farmers. So with that, we're going to go ahead and lead right in with Congressman Jody Arrington.
Dan Jackson with Town Talk Radio, and we're here with Congressman Jody Arrington. Congressman, always good to have you back home. You have started your freshman, I would say, session if we were back in the Texas legislature, but your freshman year in Congress. Lots of great things going on. This afternoon you met with a roundtable group of young farmers, and kind of what was your take this afternoon?
Well, first of all, you mentioned the Texas legislative session. I think our country might be better served if the United States Congress met every other year.
Yes.
It's called damage control. But no, we've got important things ahead of us as a country, and we have important opportunities as ag country. And first, I'm just grateful that I get the unbelievable privilege of representing West Texas and our farmers and ranchers, and just the ag industry just means so much to me because of my background growing up in Plainview. And then, of course, it means if we're going to make America great again, as we've all heard, then we better do something to make sure that the farmers and ranchers can continue to do what they do. And that's what really this meeting was about. It was about the future of farming. And we had guys in their 20s, maybe a few in their early 30s, but mostly 20s saying, man, am I going to get to do what my dad did, what I always dreamed I'd do, and what we've been doing for generations, or am I going to have to go back to school or get another job? That's a terrible position for these guys to be in. And I think the best encouragement that from my perspective is that you got Sonny Perdue, who knows something about agriculture, who is going to be our Secretary of Agriculture if he's confirmed, and I believe he will be. He also happens to be from a big cotton state, and cotton is really in crisis mode out here. So I think getting cotton into the Farm Bill or as a covered commodity through administrative action, or if we have to go the policy route through the Farm Bill, but I think you're going to get a guy who's going to understand and he's going to appreciate the position we've put our cotton producers in, especially. Then you got Donald Trump, our president, who may be a little unpredictable, maybe a little unconventional. That may be the understatement of your interview, but you know what? I love it. We got to shake things up, and we got a guy that's is doing what he said he would do. And you know what he said he would do? You see all these things rolling out. People are, this is a challenging environment for anybody, whether it was going to be a Republican or a Democrat, because these are consequential times. But one thing he said he would do, in addition to all these things you're watching him do, is he would put the American producer first. And that he would, in his gut, and I think the gut of the American people, is that we're not getting the best deal. And if you don't get fair trade deals, and if you're in a situation where you're competing with folks that don't have the tax cost, the regulatory cost, heck, they don't have EPA, they don't have OSHA, they don't have all these layers of cost, not to mention the cost of seed and the other input costs to produce, then you got to have a safety net. You got to have something that is an equalizer or a neutralizer for all this risk and this disparity between the American producer and the rest of the world. And so I between Donald Trump as president and Sonny Perdue, and not the least of which factors would be our chairman, fellow West Texan, and a guy that is respected among his peers and has earned that trust and respect as a statesman and a doer. And anyway, I think that's the impression I hope those young farmers walked away with, because that's what I think our chairman projects, and I think that's what we're reading and seeing as the tenor of the times under this new president.
And definitely, those young men will be they are the next generation. They're already in, and we need them because, as one of those young men stated today, there's lots of land that is going to be coming available. But as our older generation of producers look toward retirement, look toward those opportunities to maybe slow down a little bit, and so you hit it right on the head. It's vastly important. What you're doing now, I think, is going to have repercussions for a long, long time. This 18 Farm Bill is, I think, going to be much, much bigger than we all ever anticipated back in 14 when we got that one, or actually after 14.
Yeah.
Looking forward, you're going to have a very key place at the table. We're very thankful for that in West Texas. I appreciate that. I know that was something that you spoke often about on the campaign trail when you were campaigning for this job, was that the Ag Committee was going to be something you would strive to work on. And I say hats off to you. I thank you for getting on there, because it's very important. You know that for this area.
Yes. It's life or death for this economy. And I don't think the Americans, our countrymen, and it's not because they don't care, Dan, but I think, and quite frankly, even in our own district, people don't appreciate what's at stake here. And I'm talking about with the Farm Bill and with just the ag industry and all associated policies. But you look at these young guys and you think, 20% decline over the last several years in our 18 to 35-year-old farmer. Our average age is continuing to go up. It's close to 60. We started with about 6 million farmers in 1910. Today, we've got about 2 million. And in the next, 13 years, I believe is the projection, we'll lose a quarter of our farmers because you're seeing a mass generational retirement. Wow, that is that ought to get people's attention out here, because while we're sitting here on the campus of Texas Tech, I'm thinking to myself, what's Texas Tech going to be without our farmers? What's our healthcare industry going to be without our farmers? What's rural America going to be without our farmers? So we got a lot riding on this. Like you said, these are consequential times, and I thank the Lord that I get to be a part of our, future and the future of our country and this region. And I'm grateful that God's given me the relationships and the favor with folks like Mike Conaway and others who helped make sure that we had a seat at the table. So now it's time to get to work. We hadn't done any. I always remind people, although I'm thankful and they're grateful, we hadn't done anything yet. And so I want to come find you and get on your show when we've actually done something. If we don't do something, I'm going to avoid you.
I'm going to hide. I'll come looking for you.
I'm going back to Plainview.
No, it's great. One other thing, and you've kind of touched on a little bit of it as we've gone through it, being a freshman and walking into what has quite frankly been quite a campaign cycle for the nation as a whole. We all talked about the possibility of a President Trump earlier. We got that. You were elected to Congress. As Chairman Conaway alluded to a while ago, the ball has been rolling. You said the same thing. He did exactly what he said he was going to do. I guess my question would be this: your impression as a freshman who has begun his career in Washington, representing the 19th, at first blush, what are your thoughts?
My first blush thoughts are, man, this is moving fast. And I'm talking about the legislative agenda for Congress. And the good news is from my perspective, we've got a conservative leadership across the board. That is, a Republican president, a Republican Congress, and that's why, you know, I'd like to be out here in the district more. I anticipated that I would be out here more, and I've spent more time with our ag industry and producers. My first week, which is this week was our first full week back in the district. But you know what? When I explain what all we're doing up there to reform all these regulations, needless regulations, unnecessary, burdensome, and even overreaching like the waters of the U.S., when I talk about reforming health care and getting ready for a farm bill and trying to get some of these things to the president's desk, people say, hey, just stay there. Do your job, okay? Just don't forget about us. But my impression is we've got this first 100 days of any president, because I served with President Bush, it felt the same way. I don't know if you call it a honeymoon or what, but you until because, you know, gridlock happens with the best. And right now the mandate and the momentum is there, but that doesn't stay forever either, even with a guy like President Trump. So we've got to be up there striking while the iron's hot. And, you know, I'm very hopeful. And, you know, the other thing I must say, and some of this is because of my relationships with Chairman Conaway and Chairman Thornberry and Chairman Lamar Smith, who I served and worked with when I was at Texas Tech. Those relationships are helpful. And you got to vote just like everybody else. Everybody's got one vote. And so I'm grateful that those guys have kind of been big brothers to me, but I haven't felt like I'm diminished as a freshman. I think it all depends on the member. Are you going to sit back or are you going to jump in the middle of it? You got to strike the balance. You know, you got to earn trust and respect. But I've never been one that's been very good at just sitting on my hands. And these are critical times. Our producers need a voice. As Ricky Yantis said, we need a warrior. We don't need a champion. We need a warrior. So I'm doing my best to just make sure that the first impression's a positive one, but it's also one that, hey, we came here to roll up our sleeves and do the people's business, and we're not going to sit on our hands.
Well, and I think that's what we've all hoped for, is that voice. Not only a vote, but a voice.
That's right.
And I think you're off to a good start, especially with committee assignments. When we talked in September, as you were preparing for that last push in November, and you made the comment then that same thing. You know, you were not only going to be a vote, but a voice. And I know it has been quite a fast-moving experience, maybe is the way to say it.
It has.
But again, you have the support of the people at home. We are all anxious to see what happens as we go into the negotiation for the 18 Farm Bill, and we wish you nothing but the best there. And always know that the folks at home and in Terry County that we're representing today are always going to be a good resource for you at any time. If you need anything as far as help, we're always going to be there. So with that, Congressman now Arrington, since the last time we visited, we wish you nothing but the best and safe travels, and we look forward to visiting with you soon.
Thank you, Dan. Thanks for your friendship. Thanks for all your support. You've been there through this process. You've watched it, and you've forgotten more about ag and ag policy than I know. Maybe we'll ever know, but I'm relying on you and a lot of others because it's a team effort. And those Terry County farmers were the first guys that came to mind, the West Texas young farmers, when I was asked, what do you want to host for this chairman? And I just said, we got to have the next generation. Those guys made an impression on me, and I know they made an impression on our chairman today. Thanks for your friendship.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your time, and we'll look forward to hearing from you soon.
All right, folks, that was Congressman Jody Arrington in Lubbock a week ago Friday after the Young Farmer Roundtable. And, of course, he said quite a bit there in just a few minutes. Of course, the first 100 days of the Trump presidency aren't quite over with yet, of course, but talked about the fast pace of that legislative pace, the fast pace, the fast timing. Lots has gone on. He's done a lot of what he said he was going to do, of course. Anxious to see where he will land when we start talking about a 2018 Farm Bill. He talked about putting American folks first, American producers first. Congressman Arrington alluded to that. We hope that that's something that he will do. We definitely need that. We need some investment in our country and creating jobs for folks that are ready to go to work. And I hope that we see that commitment work into that Farm Bill negotiation. A couple other things that he said, of course, talked about Chairman Conaway and the great leadership that he has and the opportunity to work with him and Congressman Thornberry from up around Amarillo. Lots of tie-ins there, lots of things that are going to work together, hopefully for the good of agriculture on the High Plains and in Texas and across the Farm Belt as we go forward. Again, of course, the 2018 Farm Bill is going to be the biggest thing that I think that Chairman Conaway, of course, he's already said that he's going to do it on time. I think he's going to push to do it, but as Congressman Arrington said, that's very important. Well, I think that'll be the biggest test that he faces. As far as representing this area, we'll see how that goes, and I know everybody's rooting for him as we go into that, because again, it's so vastly important, not just to agriculture, but to this whole economy on the High Plains. And I can't reiterate it enough. How ag goes is how this area is going to go, folks. And I don't care if you're a farmer, I don't care if you work in a bank, I don't care what your job is on the High Plains of West Texas. If we don't have that agriculture base in this economy, we don't have an economy. And that's just the plain simple fact. So, again, I think this will be the biggest thing that he is going to do, especially being a freshman, that he'll be part of on that ag committee. And we're anxious to see how that goes. He has spoken often about being a voice, and I look forward to hearing his comments as these Farm Bill negotiations commence. Anxious to see what happens. Don't know how the approach will be made as far as getting the cottonseed designated as another oilseed. That's something that's going to be, I think, paramount to cotton in the country going forward, is getting that designation so we are part of the farm program and are a covered commodity again. And I think that's going to be very important. Don't know what they're going to do, how they're going to proceed with that. Of course, as soon as Secretary Perdue is confirmed, I'm in hopes that they'll go in and try to do the same thing they do with Chairman Vilsack, and maybe visit with him and see if he has a little different take on how the 14 farm law is read. We'll see. I don't know if it'll be that way or if it'll go through the legislative process through the floor of the House. Again, lots of questions, folks, and lots of answers we're all going to be waiting on. One thing I did want to hit on here as we kind of wrap up this segment is I thought it was very telling at the end of the interview when he thought about the roundtable. The first people that he thought about were the West Texas Young Farmers. Of course, it started here in Terry County. Lots of our young producers in this area have started that group. The lifeblood of it, they're trying to grow it. And again, they're trying to be very involved and doing a great job of it. And I thought it spoke extremely well of those young men when the congressman said his first thought when he was going to do this was of them and their group and meeting with them. They represent Terry County very well. And one thing that I didn't know until we were visiting is that the Terry County Young Farmers, of course, make up a lot of those young men, I think, are on the Farm Bureau Board. And this is Terry County has the youngest Farm Bureau Board. I don't know if it's just in the state of Texas or if in the country as a whole, but I thought that spoke very well for our future. Lots of these guys are involved and active as producers, but also very involved in the legislative process and wanting to see good things happen to agriculture. So, again, hats off to those guys. I think Kyle Kelly's president, and, of course, Mason and Stetson showed up to represent the group and did a tremendous job, and appreciate those young men and the things that they had to say. Again, making the point that things are very uncertain right now, and we need that stability of a good farm bill. And they did a great job of making that case, as did all the young men at the table that day. Did a very good job. So, folks, we're well represented as far as local leadership. Very thankful for that. Our young men are doing a great job going and visiting with our congressman. And it was good to have Chairman Conaway in Lubbock, and good to have Congressman Arrington put that together for our young men and our young producers. And I think, folks, the proof's in the pudding. We'll see what happens as we move forward with the Farm Bill negotiations, and I'm very hopeful that we'll get a lot done that will benefit our producers in this area. Folks, with that, we're going to take our last commercial break. We'll come back and kind of wrap up our show and say thank you to our sponsors. And if you'll just bear with us, come right back. We'll be back in just a minute.
Do you have trouble fitting bankers' hours into your schedule? That's not a problem when you bank with Sundown State Bank. Access your account, find balances, make transfers, and much more with Sundown's online banking service. Sundown State Bank online banking goes with you wherever you go, 365 days a year. The friendliness of hometown banking with the convenience of big town financial services. Sundown State Bank, 101 South 1st in Brownfield.
Texas Ag Plus is proud of Terry County for being the top Texas grape producer in the state of Texas. Texas Ag Plus wants producers to know that they are now selling vineyard supplies. You can get your post, rebar, wire, grow tubes, gripple, pump work, pivot work, underground pipe, and more at Texas Ag Plus. Give them a call at 806-637-4590 or go by their location at 1670 U.S. Highway 62 385 in Brownfield.
Family-owned Birdsong Peanuts is feeding the world and making Terry County a leader in the peanut industry. From certified seed sales to shelled products, whether runner, Virginia, or Spanish variety, Birdsong can serve the producer's needs. All types of grades of human and animal edible peanuts are processed at Birdsong, including peanut oil, peanut meal, and peanut hulls. Birdsong has been serving area peanut growers since 2004. Call 806-637-1800 today to see what they can do for you. Birdsong Peanuts, helping Terry County feed the world.
Move it. The big, the massive, the what the heck is that? Introducing the all-new Ford F-150. Its high-strength military-grade aluminum alloy body makes it up to 700 pounds lighter. And with less of its own lard to move around, it can move more of yours. 12,200 pounds. The most towing of any half-ton pickup. The all-new Ford F-150. The future of tough.
Go by Stanley Ford Lincoln, located at 1708 Lubbock Road in Brownfield, or call 637-7541. Stanley Ford Lincoln, you're just a short drive from big savings.
When it comes to delicious food, great wine, and an inviting atmosphere, look no further than the Triple D. The Triple D offers not only unique food items on their menu, they also have an excellent assortment of your favorite wines to go along with your meal. Located in downtown Brownfield, the Triple D isn't just a restaurant, it's also a great place to enjoy a glass of wine while listening to some of the best in live entertainment. The Triple D is open Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., and Friday evenings between 5 p.m. and 10 p.m. Check out their Facebook for daily lunch specials, as well as their live entertainment schedule. Call 637-0243 or just stop by their location at 519 West Main. The Triple D, your first stop for fun, food, and wine.
For over 30 years, Sandia Sprayers has been serving the Seagraves community. Whether it's farming, ranching, or just working around the house, they have the tools you need to get the job done. New owner Abe Dyke and his family are expanding their store to better serve you. If you cannot find it at the store, they can get it. Stop by and see manager John Dyke for all your parts and supplies this season, or give them a call at 806-387-3049. Go by Sandia Sprayers at 401 Railroad Avenue in Seagraves to see their newly expanded inventory and top-of-the-line products. Sandia Sprayers, your community farm supply store.
Hey, folks, we're back with Ag Update on Demand. Kind of want to recap the show today. Again, our hearts have been kind of heavy for the last 10 days with the loss of our good friend Don Carroll. Again, our sympathies go to his family and our prayers as well moving forward. He's lost for them and our community too. He will definitely be missed. Prayers for Coach Monty Moore, and that's how I always remember Monty Moore as a coach. Monty was a great man, impacted a lot of lives as a coach. Our prayers to his family this morning after his sudden passing last night. Again, both those families, keep them in your prayers in the coming days. And some good news, our good friend Johnny Anderson appears to be on the mend, and we hope good things for him as he goes through going into rehab for his injuries. And thankful that surgery went well, and our prayers for a speedy recovery for him and of course his family, Janie, his wife, who's been the bookkeeper over at Slayton for a number of years, and just really good folks. So keep all those folks in your prayers, those families, and we'll hope for the best for Johnny going forward and get him back home and get him going again. And finally, of course, the Young Farmer Roundtable I thought was a great opportunity for the young men in the area to visit with our congressional leadership, being Chairman Mike Conaway and Congressman Arrington. Again, hats off to Mason Becker and Stetson Hogue for doing a great job of representing the Terry County folks and West Texas young farmers. And again, very telling when the congressman says that his first thought was of our West Texas Young Farmers Organization and the young men that make that up. So hats off to them. They are definitely making strides in their efforts to become very, very politically involved, and had a lot of success as a young group, which is really, really impressive. Not only with the forum that they had, but now these folks know who they are, and they are getting an active seat at the table. So hats off to them. Great way to end up the show today with our interviews with Chairman Mike Conaway and, again, Congressman Jody Arrington. Appreciate those guys coming into the district and the work that they're doing on behalf of not only our West Texas folks, but all of agriculture, especially in the coming days as we begin the work on the 2018 Farm Bill. Hats off to them. Folks, as always, we want to say thank you to our sponsors. Of course, we couldn't do it without them. The good folks at Birdsong Peanut, Carter and Company Irrigation, Diversity Irrigation, Golden Peanut, the good folks at MetaCoop Gin, who let me come up here once a month and be on the radio. I appreciate those folks. And again, we're all going to be pulling together in the coming days and weeks and getting ready for another planting season and going on. The good folks at Stanley Ford Lincoln, the nice folks at Sundown State Bank, Tejas Peanut Company, Texas Ag Plus, Doug and Vicki Melcher at Terry County Tractor, great folks, locally owned business who are just super folks to deal with. Appreciate Doug and Vicki and all they do for the community. But if you're looking for a Kubota or a spray rig or even a versatile, bigger equipment, go down and see the good folks at Terry County Tractor. Our good friend Dr. Jim Ridenauer at Terry County Vet. Appreciate Dr. Jim and all he does for the community. And if you need the help of a good veterinarian, be sure and call Dr. Jim at Terry County Vet. And of course, the good folks at the Triple D on the square in Brownfield. If you're looking for a good meal, go down and join those folks downtown again on the square in Brownfield. And last but certainly not least, a new sponsor for Ag Update, the good folks at Sandia Sprayers down in Seagraves. Those folks are Sandia's under new ownership, and it sounds like they are growing that business rather rapidly. So, hey, if you're looking for some equipment or need any help, call the good folks at Sandia. As always, folks, I want to say thank you to the original number 11 and my mom. Hope they enjoyed the show. And as always, we look forward to seeing you again in a month. I don't know who has the next week's show, but always tune into Ag Update on Demand for the latest in ag news. And with that, folks, have a good week. We'll see you soon.
Since 1986, Golden Peanut Company has been a global leader in the peanut industry. Golden has been helping farmers in West Texas over the past 3 decades as markets, manufacturers, and consumers have evolved. With their experience, Golden helps growers decide what to do before planting, throughout the season, and after harvest. Contact Kyle Horde at 806-487-6485 today for your next peanut contract. Golden Peanut Company, connecting farmers to manufacturers and families around the globe.
Got some property to take care of? Let Kubota help you out. Known worldwide as a leading seller of compact tractors and diesel utility vehicles, Kubota has the equipment to help get your work done. With a variety of tractors and a range of horsepower options, Kubota delivers the efficiency, power, and comfort to handle light construction, landscape work, and chores on the farm. Take on your toughest jobs with a Kubota. See your local dealer today.
Town Talk Radio, the voice of Terry County, is your source for free news and event updates. Listen live at towntalkradio.com or download our free app today. Town Talk Radio is also the voice for regional high school sports, offering internet radio broadcast at no cost to the school. Call us at 806-637-0030 and don't miss another game. Town Talk Radio is a production of Adventure Marketing.
You've been listening to Ag Update, Terry County's only weekly ag news show. If it's happening on the farm, we'll talk about it on Ag Update. Thank you for listening, and join us again next week for more news and information on Ag Update on towntalkradio.com.